And up in these areas, evidence of joint space narrowing compatible with cartilaginous thinning. In a nutshell, if you don't hang up your dancing shoes, you're going to find yourself trading them in for a walker.
All right, fights start here in a little bit, about half hour, but I wanted to make a video on the main event, just my thoughts on it. The narrative coming in, obviously, everybody knows Usman is older, losing streak, the rusty knees that he has. And Buckley's a younger fighter, explosive, athletic, 6-fight win streak since moving down to welterweight. Buckley is a curious case. I think a lot will be made of his power, but he doesn't have the touch of death kind of power, not at least that we've seen yet. He loads up, he blitzes in a flurry, usually leading with a tube before trying to land a hook, usually his right hook. He is a southpaw fighter, but aside from early in his career outside the UFC, Buckley doesn't have any first-round knockouts. Don't get me wrong, Buckley has power, but he's not a knockout artist in that way. Not that we've seen yet. He weaponizes volume and pressure. He circles around the lead foot of his opponents, and then he explodes forward to close distance, and he strings together 3 or 4 punch combinations, if not more, before stepping off at an angle sometimes. I think he also has really nice kicks. Outside the viral kick, I think his kicks are very decent when he lands them. I just think if you throw a kick, he's going to charge in. If there's open space, he's charging in. If you land a counter strike, he's charging in. And if he lands a strike, you better believe there's 3 or 4 more coming your way. His explosive athleticism and his speed allows him to get away with that for the most part. Buckley does not have very good striking accuracy, but I think that ties into his volume and his pressure. I think that's just part of the overall style. So I wouldn't look at that too much. He just throws so many punches, and a lot of them don't really land. And I also think some of that has to do with him fighting at middleweight before this. A lot of his opponents were tall and they were rangy, and he would explode forward to close distance and just swing, trying to touch their chin. His striking accuracy is better since moving down. Not a whole lot better. Also, not as many fights at welterweight just yet. And I think for 3 rounds, he has decent cardio given his style. We have seen him tire out a little bit here and there, but I think he's a decent 3-round fighter. I think against Usman, it's going to be a little bit harder depending on how the fight goes. Usman with the jab, he's going to be able to set up the takedowns a lot better. I think Buckley is going to struggle with the 1 and 2, and I think Usman does it really good from both stances. I think with the right game plan, Buckley's going to have a hard fight tonight. Maybe. The intangibles is we haven't seen Usman in a while and he's older. So I have noticed that Buckley has adapted his style a little bit better over time. When he charges in, he now expects that counter 2 to hit him. He blocks it before even coming in now, and then when he does get hit by it, he is able to eat it. He sees the punches and he's able to eat them a little bit better. Whereas before, against somebody like Kevin Holland and some of his other opponents, they were throwing the 1-2 and it was hurting him bad. But you see over time, as his opponents keep throwing it, he's been able to deal with it a little bit better. Also, I will say against Colby, I noticed that Buckley wasn't all blitzes all the time like he usually is. He was actually landing some strikes and then backing off, and then landing strikes and backing off, in and out of the pocket. So that's definitely growth and development on Buckley's part. He still is susceptible to just the 1-2, those straight punches, and I think Usman's jab is really going to be a problem for him. The more Usman lands that, the more he's able to set up more of his offense, and I think that can trigger Buckley to kind of blitz forward. And if Usman can time it right, he can do way better at takedowns than Colby Covington ever did. He can level change and take Buckley down, which opponents have done to him in the past. It just depends on also Buckley's game plan and his style coming in. But if that jab lands enough, it's probably going to frustrate him like it has frustrated a lot of his opponents in the past, Usman's. It's an open stance matchup as well, I believe. We know Usman to change stances, but he does spend a lot of time in orthodox, and Buckley is a southpaw. So I think inside body kicks, head kicks, that'll keep Buckley upright. Buckley does dip, and he bobs, and he weaves, and he tries to do his best Tyson impression as he closes distance. Oh yeah, those kicks, by the way, Usman has to be careful of throwing. Because anytime his opponents throw kicks, Buckley just charges in, or he catches it and throws punches. But I think Usman can do it, and I get it. Usman has the intangibles and the X factors against him here. So, but I still think on paper, Usman is the better fighter. It's just at this stage, is the better fighter going to win tonight? I don't know. We'll see. I will pick Usman to win this fight. Probably a bad pick, but I think he can get it done. I think the last fights that Usman's had, he does look pretty good, but I guess we'll see. Not his interviews didn't give me a lot of confidence, but he does interview weird, and he has a strange like narrative tone of voice. But enjoy the fights. I'm going with Usman. Somebody's got to do it.